Hey everyone, it's me, Mr. J.
And I'm Tricky Rick.
Well, we're here for a quick little update before today's podcast, and I'm going to let Ricky take it away.
All right, cool. So I just wanted to make a quick announcement. We did an announcement I guess last month.
It was the last party.
Last party. We did some rebranding, and most of you have seen that we've actually made some changes to the website. We've actually done some other things. We've been working really, really hard behind the scenes to try to get things moved along. And I just want to give some people a quick update about what all that is. It really came about because we sort of have evolved in what we are now. You know, when we first started out, it was more about the bisexual guys that were in the lifestyle.
Right.
And I was originally given, or we originally had that URL, and the URL was the bi-events.com.
Right.
And that was sort of a pain in the butt because the dash always had to be in there, and I couldn't get the one without it, and it was going to another website, and it was really just a mess. So really for us, it was really hard to, and then bi sort of kept us in a box. It sort of made it, we sort of found
one-dimensional.
As the community started growing, it started getting bigger and bigger. We realized it's a little bit more about other aspects of this community than just the bisexual community. So really what happened is that was sort of a stepping stone that we sort of had tried to, get over. And then we also realized that we're doing more than just events.
Right.
We're doing some other things around the country that are really unique, and we want to expand and do some other things. And we really couldn't market, and marketing, trying to create a logo that looked good with the bi events, and then trying to figure out a way to, promote that and get people to wear that really didn't work. It didn't really feel comfortable for me. So for me, it was like, how do we do that? And I was really talking to some friends of ours, and we started sitting down and we started talking, and we started throwing some names around there. And obviously we used some ChatGPT and some other things. And we really were going back and forth. And we realized that there was a couple of names, and the one that really struck out when we were given some suggestions was Dual Desires.
Right.
Because
Absolutely.
this, the lifestyle and being bi, it's the one or the other, it's the two. You have a desire to want one or the other or both, and it sort of fit. It's that sort of that I don't know. It's like that yin and yang type of a little thing, the dual desire thing. Yeah, and the DD it worked pretty good too. So that was pretty interesting. And then we sort of like, well, what kind of a logo could we do? And then we sort of started looking at the logo and that kind of thing. Well, anyway, that's sort of where we're going with this. And as you notice now, we have the logo behind us. And you can see that it's basically a male and a female, and the male is equal to the female, and the female is equal to the male. So that's really how we look at this, that we have, it's an equal thing here. It's not one better than the other or anything. And then you also see there's a little flip in the colors. So the colors are a little unique because the woman is actually blue, and then the guy is actually pink. So in our bisexual colors, you've got that the blue is the male and the female is usually the pink, and then the merging of the two is where you get the purple.
Right.
Yeah. So that really worked out with what the scheme is, what we're doing. But then the reverse of that really gave it another twist. So we really thought that would be really a good and beneficial. And I started doing the URL, and of course the URL was available, so we bought that, and then we started doing some other marketing. So for me, I sort of was like, okay, yes, this is a good stepping stone. It feels right. It feels comfortable. We're starting to do some other things. So as you see, the website is sort of changed. Now we do have this two websites. We still do have the bi-events.com, and we still do have the dualdesires.com. They both point to the same ML platform. And if you notice in there, you still have your profiles, and you still have everything like you normally do. And that's really how we're going to move forward. And I think once we get probably to the first of the year, we'll probably drop the bi-events just because we're moving forward. And really we're getting really a lot of good feedback from everybody. And everybody's really enjoying it. I'm really liking it. I like the feeling, and when I look at it, it looks really nice. And it
gives you a sense of pride.
Yeah, it feels comfortable. It feels nice. I think it's gorgeous. A lot of people really like it. I think it's a very classy logo. And it's just one of those things that we're just evolving. And when I say evolving, when I said, we started off and it was more about the bisexual guys, it really was. It was about, we catered towards the bisexual guy in a couple's relationship.
Sure.
And for us, once we started doing the events, we realized that there's a lot of poly. And that was a big thing. I was like, wow, poly's become a bigger thing. And then we also a lot of trans, which basically, it sort of goes on the both ends of the spectrum of there. And then you get a lot of open-mindedness and whatever. I mean, there's
BDSM and kink.
BDSM and kink. Yeah. Obviously, there's a lot of intertwining of the subcultures in there. We're all still in the lifestyle, and it really is about that. But there is sort of the subgenre, and it's really taken off well. So I wanted to give you a couple updates about that, and we take an opportunity here. We're going to get ready to do a podcast here coming up and this afternoon or in a little bit, and we got everything set up, and we thought we'd just go ahead and announce everybody. We did it last month, but the audio and the lighting wasn't really good. I wasn't really happy with it, so I think this works out.
This is a lot more appropriate.
Jay's been this amazing guy. He's really stepped up his game here. I think if you looked back at the podcast, you can see that it's evolving a little bit more and more, and it's really amazing. I really appreciate Jay and everything that he's doing here, and I hope you guys do too. And please, comment about that, because we do watch that, and we do watch the podcast. And I know a lot of you. We go to these events, and people say that it's really changed our lives and changed their lives, and that's really been an amazing process of this thing. So
why don't we mention that if they do decide to share their story, we're going to give you a free ticket to a mansion party. Any mansion party of your choice, you come on down. We will give you a free ticket. We'll interview the day of the event, and then you'll be the guest of honor at that night's party. Absolutely, yeah. And I think that's a good way to get people to come. And if they don't want to use it themselves, they're more than welcome to give it away to somebody else that maybe has shy and not really sure about coming to the event. Because we're real strict about the members that come here. Obviously, I know it's a pain for some people to make a profile, to see if you want to come or not. But that's really part of our venting process, and we make sure that if there's a question, I call people up on the phone, I ask them some questions, and if I don't get a vibe, like a buy vibe, or I don't get a feel like, oh hell yeah, I want to go to this party, I get another kind of vibe. I'm just like, nah, I don't think your party's very much for us. And I do, there's a lot of people that do come here. We've started to promoting a lot more on a couple of the different platforms. I think most of you have seen, like on SDC, that we've really upped our game in there, and then we've also started working on some other platforms. Facebook is sort of Facebook. It is what it is. But we do have our platform. We have some others that we're sort of trying to elevate this a little bit more to the next level. So if you're new and you have never come to one of our events, what you can expect is that there's a lot of like-minded people here, because we really try to make sure that the people that come here are of what we want and the caliber that we want. Absolutely.
And we do keep a track of who's there, and in order to have a profile, this is so that we as staff can sort of, if there's a problem or a question, then we note it. If they were too drunk, or they weren't, they didn't ask for consent, or if they basically, if there was something really unusual or some problem with it, then we will make that note, and either we'll have a discussion after the fact or during the event, or we will actually the next time just really keep an extra eye on them and see if that is true, if they're doing what they're doing, and if that's the case, then we just remove them, and we're not going to.
Happened.
Yeah, it happened a couple
times.
I've had a gentleman that was here last year at this Halloween. He was begging, wanted to come back to the event, and I looked at the notes, and it was like, no, he was not giving consent. He was touching inappropriately, and I gave him a fair warning, and he came back again, and he did it again, and that was the end of it, and it was a done deal.
Two strikes, you're out,
and I don't play around with this. This is not
supposed to be a safe space.
This is a safe space, and this is really what it's about. So with that being said, I really appreciate any comments you guys have about what we're doing. If there's any suggestions that you have, we're just trying to do the best we can. We started out, I started doing this with nothing more than $100 in my bank account, and that was all I had, and I really didn't have a job in the sense. I was an auto mechanic and just trying to do what I can, and we started doing these events, and they've gotten bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And to speak of that, I wanted to share of some of the events that are coming up.
Yeah, let's do it.
Because that's some of the things the reason we want to do this. And we're going to give you a quick tour around the mansion too, a little bit about what's going on. The event we have tonight is actually Hallo-KINK.
Yeah, Hallo-KINK.
Hallo-KINK is actually a really good one. We do have a lot of BDSM, and it sort of ties in that, and it's actually the day after Halloween, so it's good. People can come out on a Saturday night. It's not the day of, and it's a little bit more risque. It's a little bit more
more
down
kinky.
and dirty, more kinky. Although bisexual is kink, type of thing, but it's really geared towards that. We got a lot of floggers, and we got a lot of tools, and we also have some people that are more educated in the BDSM community that have have them more experience that are going to be here that we've asked to sort of tell. I was asking about sounding. I'm like, what is sounding and how does that work? I Googled it and I was like, I checked it and it's like, oh, that's interesting. I don't know if that's
something I would want to do.
Yeah, I don't know if that's something, but it's an interesting thing.
Yeah.
So we have a young lady who's actually a nurse, and that she's really part of the community for us, and also for the kink community. She's going to be here tonight, and she's going to do some explaining and maybe some demonstration. We'll see if we can find a victim or somebody willing to do that kind of thing. But we don't know. We'll see what happens. But anyway, and there's some other people that do some bondage and some rope and some other things like that, and how to do things properly. And that's really what we want to do. And this should be about education. It's about a community,
100%.
about growing. It's about growing and learning and helping each other find themselves and find where they fit in their own sexual identity. So anyway,
I also hear we're having a Thanksgiving party.
Oh yes, so Friendsgiving or Friendsgiving. Friendsgiving is what we give it, because giving is sharing is caring. They say so.
And that party starts an hour earlier, correct?
An hour earlier,
yes.
Correct. So at 7:00, what we'll do is we'll bring the big table out here. We'll set it out, and everybody brings food, and it's it's a big feast.
Everybody feast and an orgy. It's an amazing time.
It's a lot of fun. People hang out, and so that means it's going to move our
round robin
up 1 hour.
Yes. So 9:00 round robin.
Correct. So a lot of people wonder what the round robin is for. And it's really part of how we get to know you. It's not just we throwing mattresses on there. It's so that you can say what you're looking for, what you're not looking for, what your kinks are.
It makes the party so much more personable.
Yeah. What gets you off? What do you want to do? What are the fantasies that you would like to have? Maybe you could say that. I've done 80, 90 people in 15, 20 minutes. Yeah. I mean, it goes really quick. It's not like a long drawn out, hear your life story. We can hear that later on. But, it's more about what you're really here for and what you're looking for.
Absolutely.
And it's amazing because there's a lot of people that are lifestyle. They're like, wow, I've never been to a party that's like this. And it gives you opportunity to hear that. And again, if people don't participate in that, that really shows that you're really not wanting to be a part of the community, that you want to just take and not give.
Right.
And that's not really what we're about. So I do have conversations. I've had guys and gals who try to sneak and run down the hall and run to a bedroom and not be there. But I know everybody that's here. I agree to everybody that's here. If they're not a regular one, I try to make sure that I go up to them and I shake their hand and
make
say,
sure you
welcome.
meet everybody.
Yeah, and give you a tour when you first come in here, because I want you to be able to feel comfortable when you come to the party. And if you have any problems, you can come and see me, because really the buck stops here. It's really what the deal is. So anyway, we got Thanksgiving after that, so it's our regular party, and then after that, it's going to be Christmas,
27th of December.
And
so it's our Christmas, New Year, Toys for Twats party.
Toys for Twats, yes, it is. It's good. So we're going to have a little bit more going on with the kink deal with that too. And again, it's going to be it's right after Christmas.
Yes, right before New Year's, but right after Christmas.
Right.
The 27th.
It's a good deal because a lot of people don't want to drive on New Year's, especially Tarpon Springs, a little bit of a hike from here.
Yes.
So it works good. Most people rent out rooms. There are hotels right around the corner, so that's not a big deal. So that's really a great opportunity for you to come if you don't know what's going on with that.
Absolutely.
And then you actually have the New Year's event too.
I was going to say, if you had other plans for New Year's, you can still come and hang out with us and still go to your New Year's plans.
Actually, absolutely. And then actually that February or January is my birthday, so I don't really try to do too much on that day, unless maybe go somewhere and try to, have some fun myself where I'm not working.
Yeah.
But anyway, the next event is really big, and we're going to really announce this. It's going to be our hotel takeover in Atlanta, Georgia.
So looking forward to that one.
So we've worked real hard. I know we've been talking a lot about actually doing this event or doing an event like this, but this is going to be an 80-room hotel. It's a Best Western in North. They do events there already. I went up and I met with them and I talked, and they have lifestyle events there already, so they're looking forward to us being there. I signed the contract. I put my money down. I gave it. So basically, we're taking over the whole hotel. It's a 3-story hotel. You can be nude and naked anywhere you want to in the whole hotel and the upper levels. Obviously not in the lobby, we're in the front door where you're at the door, but common sense arises. But with that, it's going to be more of a room crawl type of a thing where you can actually rent a room on the party floor, just like here at the mansion. You can rent a room, and then people can go and come as much as you want. So, and then at the end of the halls, we're going to have our VIP suites, or we're going to have VIP suites that are going to have the beds out of them, and we'll put swings in there, and we'll set it up to be more of a group room type of thing, because a bunch of us are, more of we like the puppy piles, if you say so.
Absolutely.
And so that's really is, or if you're one that wants something, you can put it on the door, on the bottom, come on in.
Yeah.
If you're a top, what you're you're looking for,
what
or whatever.
What if you want like 4 guys?
4 guys, there you go. If you want a choo-choo train, there you go.
Yeah.
Put a train bell on the front door, whatever you want to do.
I love it.
I mean, you could decorate it any way you want to, and I think that's really what we're going to do. The hallways, and we can light it up any way we want to. It's going to be a lot of fun, and they do events already there, so it's going to be a lot of fun. We do have access to the pool, but I'm not really sure what's going to happen. Obviously, February is February. It's going to be. Never know. So we'll wait and see. But please go online. You can buy tickets. Go to our events page, and it's going to be down. It's going to be Valentine's weekend, which is going to be the 13th through the 15th.
Yes.
And it's actually going to be up in North Georgia and Roswell.
Roswell,
Georgia. Yep. So a lot of people are already there. We've got a lot of people that have rooms already. So the rooms are going quickly. Go ahead and get your room. So the room does include 2 nights, and you can either get a king, executive king, a king, or queen, or you can get a single. I think they have some. No, they just have singles. I'm sorry, queens, double queens, or just a single queen. So we can work it out. We're trying to work it out with multiple people that are there and everything that they've used and done some different events there already. So we're trying to work that out. Just please sign up, do whatever you got to do. If you want more information, reach out to me. I'll do what I can do to get you situated and get you in a good room, either on a party floor or one of the floors a little bit down, a little bit lower, that you can get a little quieter. I was thinking about making rooms on the top is the tops and the bottoms the bottoms, but no, I don't think that's going to work. I think it's going to be just a big party.
Yeah,
it's going to be
it's going to be great.
So with that being said, I think that please sign up. That's really not taking a big risk, because I think the response that we've gotten from every other
Ricky,
event
you have nothing to worry about. I said, I think right after Christmas you're going to see a huge bump, and you're going to sell out. It's going to be, and then people are going to be asking you, when's the next one? That's just how it's going to be.
So in the next one, we're trying to get in Florida. I want to do some things in Florida, and I know there's a lot of folks here in Florida. Georgia was the closest I can do. It's only 6 hours from my house, and I live in Ocala area a little bit, so it's not that bad. 75. Anyway, with that being said, after that is I'm still not sure what we're going to do after that with other little small parties like the mansion parties or anything like that. But I know that we do have Pineapple Week.
Yes.
That's going to be happening in Jamaica. That's going to be April the 26th through, I think, May 2nd. Mm-hmm. Yes. And that's going to be back in Jamaica. So again, I want to just give a little bit of update about what's going on in Jamaica. Obviously, the hurricane came through here recently, and they got really hit hard. Luckily, I don't say luckily, just the way that things developed, the hurricane hit to the east south of the actual resort. So it actually hit more further there. So it was on the back side of it, if you know what I'm saying. That's sort of where the swirl was. They live, the Jamaica, the resort is actually sort of towards the west side of the resort, if you look at the Jamaica on a map. So they really were cushioned by a lot of that. They didn't have a lot of the direct stuff. Unfortunately, heartbreaking, there's a lot of Jamaicans just got devastated. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, a lot of the employees have been displaced there. And so we're going to put a link in the description, or actually I'm going to put a link in there for any kind of donations if you like to give to Jamaica. We will actually be sending that to them, and then so that they can try to get some relief. But the resort itself is up and running. They're doing their thing. I think they were still on generator power. They had water, they had internet, they had Starlink going up. So and this is only 2 days, 3 days ago.
4 days out.
So they're up and going, and obviously the hotel, the other issue that people are having or concerned about is the actual airport. So Montego Bay is where most people land. That's where you're going to go, and then you're going to drive around. That got hit pretty hard because obviously that was on the downside, and it was really get hard. And they're looking to start doing plane. Actually, they said today they're going to start launching a couple emergency, and then maybe tomorrow start doing regular flights again. So they're going to get working on it again. You got to remember that Jamaica tourism is a big thing for Jamaica.
Oh yeah, that's a big contributor to our economy.
They're definitely going to be wanting to try to get that up and going as quickly as possible. So our hearts go out to everybody there in Jamaica and anybody that's affected by that directly or indirectly. And then I also know that we went up the coast a little bit too, and it's devastating when trauma things like that happen.
Oh, absolutely.
But anyway, those are the things that are happening. And then obviously, which we already have, like I talked to one of our Tom's trips, and we were talking. We had a sort of summary about the last event in October, and that was an amazing event. Oh, we had a great time at Bye Week, and it was really a lot of fun. And we went back and we were talking about all the events and what we had and what worked and what didn't work. And we were doing a cap on what's going on. We already have 130 or so rooms sold for October, for April, and we have over 100 or so sold for October. So those numbers are what quite a significant, about 25 to 30% of what we just had last year with just one event, which was October. So you're talking a growth, and I want to share this real quick with you, which I'm real humbled by, is that when I was in Jamaica, one of the staff from Hito's actually said, "Hey, Ricky, can I talk to you?" And I said, "Yeah." And she was like, "Hey, so how did you get hooked up with Tom's Trips?" And I told her, I said, well, I started doing these parties, and then, there were some influencers, Tom and Bunny had come to one of the parties just to check it out because they were interested in giving a review to Tom's Trips about how we manage our parties and how we do them. And they were so overwhelmed, like enthused by how we were doing it and the people and how everything was. That's how it started. They gave me 20 rooms, see if you can sell them. And it was like, it just took off from there. And I think that's really been showing the progress of how this whole thing has developed. Yep. It's been a slow growth. It's been a steady growth. And we've been starting to invest some things back in here. If you see the podcast, I bought some some gear, back to some DJ gear for the events and hotel. And then I know Jay's been stepping up his game here. We got some CB, we got some cross stuff, the St. Andrews cross, and some spanking bench and some other odds and ends. And so, we're trying to just keep it going, keeping the theme going, not changing our focus, but yet we're still trying to keep it enthusiastic and
reaching out to a broader audience.
Yeah, broader audience, keeping it entertaining, whatever. And
still all bisexual.
Yes.
Or in some kind of rainbow family.
Right.
But it's all, everybody's welcome.
Right. And that was sort of the things too. And the other thing that I wanted to say too before we wrap it up is that I also reached out to some of the people in Jamaica about actually supporting the LGBT community in Jamaica.
Yes.
So I was sort of concerned.
Even more.
Yeah, even more about how we can help that, especially with the things going on now. So, but anyway, I just really want to thank everybody that's been supportive.
Yes.
Having the subscription that you guys do has helped me keep going and just on a daily basis, just keep plugging away and plugging away. I've been really trying to be minimalistic on everything that we do, and then trying to just do the bare minimum just to keep things going, and it's gotten better and better and better, and it's only because of you guys.
Yes.
It's only because you have consistently come out to the parties and consistently been a part of the events and the podcast, and giving us input, and and I'm definitely willing to hear any open suggestions that you have. Definitely, there's lots of
feedback
times,
is always welcome.
Yeah, there's lots of times that I'm like, yeah, I've heard that, but when you hear it a couple times, it's like, okay, maybe we can change a couple things.
Sure.
So with that being said, I just want to thank everybody again. Thank Jay.
Absolutely.
I want to thank Princess.
Thank you.
She's been a blessing. She's helping me out. And there's been a lot of other people. There's so many nameless people that are just been helping out, all in the background, that have been helping out in all the different aspects. It's just been amazing that I can't say enough about how this is not about just me. Obviously these are things that I would like to do, and I would love to go to a party like this. And that's how I've always viewed it, is like, what would I like to see? How would I like to see the room decorated? How would I like to get fucked? It's like, those are the things that remember me.
Customer number one.
Yeah, customer number one.
Customer number one.
It's funny because when I go to talk, one of the questions was like, do you have a shower? Like, I'm going to look at events. I'm like, do you have a shower? And they're like, well, no, what do you need a shower for? I'm like, well, obviously you've not played like we play, because we definitely play. We don't just come around and sit around and drink beers and drink and socialize.
I was going to say, Ricky, one of the things I love about your party, and I know I say this all the time, but when you come here, you have your round robin, it's the good social vibe, and then at 10:30, when we're done the round robin, no one has any hangups and no one's afraid to play.
Yeah.
Everybody, I'd say out of tonight, you're probably going to have 75 to 80 people come if the numbers stay the way they are. We're looking at probably 70 of those people will be playing at one point.
Yeah. And usually they do it right at the beginning, just because they're all like, okay, and the ones that aren't, that gives them an opportunity. They've been here for 2 hours for the meet and greet. They've talked to some people, and then they maybe would have dinner or, ate something, hang out a little bit.
Sure.
And then basically they listen to the round robin. They're like, this is not for me.
Right. Yeah.
This is not for us. We're not ready for this. And I've seen couples that were like, and I'm like, that's fine. And I much rather that.
Oh, absolutely.
Causing any kind of other problems. So if you're hesitant about it, feel free to come to the party early, and you can actually meet with us and talk with us, and actually come over to the, where we're up until the round robin, obviously, or anytime you want to leave. But there's, anytime you can leave. But that makes it really nice, because then you understand what's going on and you're on the same page as everybody else.
There's never any pressure for anybody to ever participate.
Correct.
It's the most laid back, most accepting, for lack of better terms, most accepting accepting group that I've ever been with. And I've been coming every month for the last 4 years.
Yeah. Yeah, you have. Yeah, I don't think you've missed any
Customer number 2, my friend.
Yeah, customer number 2. Yeah. So with that being said, I just really want to thank, and my heart goes out to everybody, and thank you so much for all your support and you continue to help us strive to make this community a little bit better, because the LGBT community, the B is not really represented very well. It's either you got to be gay or you got to be a lesbian or you got to be heterosexual. It's like there's no real fine line. So now I think you're finding across the board it's really turned over that now even when I go to Hito's and we're doing a full takeover, now we're doing 2 a year where they said we couldn't even do 1.
Right.
And I've got people that actually came back and later on with their tail between their legs and like, wow, how are you doing this? Obviously they still do heterosexual parties and they would never do what we're doing or capable of doing what we do because they don't live the lifestyle. See, I live the lifestyle. My mother's married to a woman and my father's married to a man. And I've been in the LGBT. I can remember being a kid going to, my mom would stop by the gay bars on the way home to meet with a friend or something, or, stop somewhere else. And that was part of me growing up. And I never thought anything about it. And I always had, gay men over at the house and they were friends and we loved them to death. And, they always had a great time with us and in the sense of, always there and helpful and being very, so I was always very open about it, but I was still very shy about or insecure about my bisexuality. And I don't know why. So now I wear this shirt.
No one knows I'm bisexual.
Yeah. So that way there's no hesitation. Nobody will know that way. I can do it. I can keep it down. But no, it's real all seriousness. It's like, it's about finding myself. And even for me, it's about a new journey that we've come about. And, it's going on. How many years now?
2021. So 4 years. It'll be 5 years come. My first party was 5 years ago in like January, February.
Yeah. So, I mean,
it was your birthday.
Yeah. A growth of a business like that or something like this venture, I think it says a lot.
Unbelievable.
For what we're doing. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
So with that being said, I want to thank everybody for joining us, listening to me ramble on a little bit. And if there's any other questions, just leave us a comment in the below.
Send Ricky an email at ricky@dualdesires.com. Or, drop us a message on Facebook, either one, Mr. J or Ricky. And, I think that's pretty much covers it. So absolutely. Everybody make sure you stay positive. You love your life. Make sure you live life and don't let life live you.
Love you. See ya.